have something spectacular and something really special today. I've got a very special guest who has agreed to be on our channel today. I have today with me Tavares.
10 little known facts about Tavares you need to know. Hey, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to cover little known facts about one of our favorite YouTubers, Tavares. YouTube is full of car review, rebuilders, and just plain auto enthusiast channels. Some of these channels are run by people who aren't true gearheads and don't have a passion for cars. Tavares, we'll cover his real name shortly, is not one of those people. He has a true passion for cars, which is easily seen when you watch any of his videos. And he has a lot of videos, 436 to be exact. The thing is, everybody, even popular YouTubers, can get in over their heads. What's interesting about Tavares' videos is that not many other YouTubers can speak so knowledgeably about them, showing a true passion for his cars. It's an oddly rewarding experience to see how these broken beasts are destroyed and brought back to life, and you'll no doubt learn a thing or two in the process. His videos mainly concentrate on buying luxurious or supercars, fixing them up, and holding them or flipping them. Some of his better-known builds include a 1999 Dodge Caravan, featured on the show Pimp My Ride, which he got for $850, and turning Tyrese Gibson's Lamborghini stunt car from the Fate of the Furious into a fully made SEMA build. In addition, since Tavares is an automotive journalist, it gives him some unique opportunities and perspectives you couldn't get from an outsider in the industry. Number 10. What was his family car growing up? In an interview, Tavares said that the one that stood out the most was the 1987 Honda Civic. It was a 1.3-liter four-cylinder, only the world's smallest, most gutless thing. But since he was young, and that's how he was exposed to cars, he said he loved it. Number 9. What's the worst car Tavares says he's ever driven? Actually, it was a gift he bought for his friend at Jalopnik, Mike Balaban, a Yugo. He got it as a gift because Mike was a car journalist who didn't own a car, and he didn't think that was right. From New Jersey to New York, he drove the car, and he said it was the sketchiest trip of his life. Number 8. What was Tavares' favorite road trip? It was a trip to Moab, Utah from Detroit with David Tracy. They took David's 1948 Willys Jeep and a Ford Raptor. In order to get there, they took back roads because there was no overdrive on the Willys Jeep, so the highest speed that he could do was about 38 miles an hour. It took them a lot of time, but they both loved the scenery along the way. Number 7. What is Tavares' real name, and where did he grow up?
AKA Freddie Hernandez.
Tavares was actually born in Russia in 1987 as Freddie Hernandez and was raised in Elizabeth, New Jersey. His family moved from the USSR to New Jersey in 1990, right before the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. At first, his family lived in poverty, and he was barely able to afford food. However, they were able to build a comfortable life for themselves. He attended Elizabeth High School, graduating in 2004. Number 6. Here's a weird one. Tavares wants to ride a Hornet. When asked what he thought would be the best animal to ride if it were as big as a horse, he said he would choose a Hornet. The reason he gave is that in the air they have good agility and attack abilities too, which is cool. It can sting and not die. It'd be the closest thing you could get to a dragon without fire. To be honest, he has a point. Forget those murder hornets. I want a horse-sized hornet now.
Are you the kind of person that wants to buy a cheap luxury car because you want everyone around you to see how well you're doing, despite not actually having anything in your bank account? Well, join the club, because today on Found on Auto Tempest, we're looking at the top 10 cheap cars that make you look rich.
Number 5. What were some of Tavares' jobs before rebuilding cars on YouTube? Tavares' first job after graduating high school in 2004 was working as a youth speaker for the Hyacinth AIDS Foundation. From July 2004 to May 2006, from March through October 2009, he worked as a medical biller for Neighborhood Health Services Elizabeth Port. From August 2011 to December 2014, Tavares worked as the Vice President of Scooters NYC Rentals and Tours. He was in charge of marketing, management, and expansion. During this career is when he started dabbling in online businesses, which we'll cover next.
This is one of the worst single clutch automated manuals. Also, that engine is one of the most unreliable engines to ever be put in any sort of performance car.
Number 4. How did Tavares get into fixing and rebuilding cars on YouTube? Tavares had long been a car enthusiast and enjoyed working on, repairing, and modifying cars, or wrenching as he calls it. He gained writing experience by posting about the cars he was working on and what projects he had going on online forums. The first cars he took a special liking to were the Nissan Maxima and Toyota Supra. Number 3. How did Tavares build such a huge fan base? In 2011, Tavares started his own website, Apita Online, which he created as a hub for DIY car knowledge and culture articles. At the time, he mainly wrote about the experiences he had from buying and selling cars after fixing them up and modifying them. He would post the articles in Facebook groups about cars to gain feedback. One of his articles was titled 5 Reasons It Sucks to Be an Auto Enthusiast. By posting, Tavares was able to develop a fan base. Tavares then started posting articles on Opposite Lock, the open forum of the motoring blog Jalopnik. Some of his posts ended up also being reposted onto Jalopnik. Number 2. Tavares got his own job at Jalopnik. In June 2014, after gaining experience writing on Opposite Lock, he wrote an open letter to Jalopnik's editor-in-chief, Matt Hardigree, that he had content no one else was writing about and would be a good addition to the team. He even offered to work for free just to gain experience. A month later, in July 2014, Hardigree hired Tavares to be a paid contributing writer to the site. While working at Jalopnik, Tavares found the best part was being able to meet people he looked up to in the automotive industry, including Adam Carolla, Henrik Fisker, Ian Cullum, and Alex Roy. Number 1. How did Tavares build such a huge YouTube channel? In 2015, Tavares started regularly posting videos on YouTube about different project cars he had bought. He soon gained a large following, and by the end of 2017, had over 130,000 subscribers. His videos and articles follow him buying used, fully depreciated enthusiast cars in running but poor condition, then using his DIY skills to fix and modify these cars before selling them to buy more cars. Many of his articles and videos have headlines or titles such as, "I bought an Aston Martin V8 Vantage for the price of a Toyota Camry."
It's my first time driving an Aston Martin V12 Vanquish, and this thing runs like garbage.
As of November 2020, Tavares had a staggering 1.7 million subscribers on his YouTube. His most popular video includes, "I just bought the cheapest Lamborghini in the country," rebuilding and heavily modifying a stock 200,000-mile Toyota Supra in 4 days, and rebuilding and modifying a destroyed BMW sports car in 4 days. What Tavares has built has been no easy task, and it's not for everyone. In one of his new videos, he talks about how easily cars can eat into your budget, especially when you consider the rate at which Tavares is posting new builds. The number of cars he owns has really started to add up. As impressive of a business as Tavares has built, it hasn't all been roses and butterflies. In one of his videos, he takes viewers on a tour of his garage to talk about some of his unfinished projects before getting into the wallet-destroying state of the Murcielago. First up, his 1995 Ferrari F355 Spider was destroyed by flames. Since it needs a considerable amount of bodywork, the Ferrari lives as a shell. Fernandez will work to graft the hardtop of another F355 onto it with a partner. If it sounds insane to patch a severely scorched Ferrari while converting it into a hardtop at the same time, it is because it is. But already, well beyond what any insurance adjuster might consider salvageable is the vehicle itself. That gives a little more leeway for Hernandez to do what he wants to do with it, as Hernandez needs someone by his side to double-check anything they do. His friends come on board. Even YouTube expectations are very interested in the unique projects, and it will be fascinating to see if he will actually complete it. Next, Hernandez addressed his 2004 Bentley Continental GT as well. Since the corrosion is so bad, he ends up breaking a bunch of bolts. They seem to break off when they use disparate metals, Tavares said. His condition should be familiar to any gearhead. Since he is committed to sell it, Hernandez is committed to finishing all the unfinished work on the Bentley. He has to install a new engine he bought and fit the transmission before that can happen, a procedure that requires the installation of a whole bunch of solenoids, sensors, and motor mounts. Tavares was quoted in saying, "The car is one of the toughest cars I've ever worked on." Hernandez is in for a penny, in for a pound, as it applies to the Bentley, but hopefully not for long. Hernandez channel veterans will no doubt be acquainted with this 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. It was the car that propelled him into stardom on the internet. He has never been able to diagnose precisely what prevents the top from going down, which is why the replacement of any hydraulic part is slated. Tavares is quoted saying, "If you have the ability to purchase a convertible, please don't do it. Don't get a cabriolet, get a hardtop, and you won't have any of these issues." The Gallardo is clearly one of his least complicated projects, despite his frustration. Finally, the star of many of his latest videos, Lamborghini Murcielago, is prominently featured in The Fate of the Furious. This is a substantially more expensive undertaking than what he has foreseen. While shooting the film, the production caused quite a bit of damage to the Lamborghini. Hernandez also committed himself to SEMA's car, a decision that didn't give him a lot of time to get the car in shape. In his quest to make a car presentable, he did not spare anything, and it cost him a lot of money. One of those over-the-top expenses was decking the Murcielago out with parts made of forged carbon. In addition to the cosmetic damage, the plastic brake ducts, which help cool the brakes, were also removed by the film production team. Hernandez opted to purchase a new pair for a whopping $500. In contrast to what Hernandez spent on the new rear bumper, those brake ducts are cheap. When talking about all the parts he had to buy, Tavares said, "This is just like Christmas morning, except that I bought my own presents." One of those presents was a Veilside's Premier 4509 carbon fiber bumper. Came straight out of Japan at a cost of $12,000. He couldn't afford to go with anything less. Hernandez explained, because it would run the risk of a bad fit so close to SEMA. It's a price eye-watering to pay. Hernandez later explained that he had to give Murcielago a new bumper, a fiberglass bumper that was designed by the film crew for shooting purposes, and it was subject to a lot of violence. It's also incredibly heavy, and not the kind of thing on a Lamborghini you'd like. The vehicle is currently residing in a trustworthy paint shop, where a darker orange is resprayed. Also, Hernandez would need to repaint the calipers to the new hue. Overall, his project list is staggering, and fully able to swallow him whole. What's more likely is that what he can't finish, he'll just sell. The hot mess persona we developed by Hernandez, like other YouTube car enthusiasts, as a way to make things more fun for their viewers. At the end of the day, Tavares seems to be a truly nice guy that has a real passion for cars. If you enjoyed the video, then hit the like and subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.